This is the worst part of a Sunday when your team loses like this. Never a good feeling. It reminds me of the old days back when I was a kid in elementary school. After a lot more Seahawks losses I'd have to endure, but that bummed feeling of, now I go back to school tomorrow, Seahawks lost again. But let's start with a few positive things before I get to the onslaught of negative things. First of all, we're 2-1. Okay, so in my mind, I predicted my prediction video. I said we were going to go 12-4 this season. We lost today, but if we can just do everything else like I thought we'd do. No, anyway, that's my positive look on that side. Secondly, I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but Russell Wilson, man, that dude, one-man army leading the way, even when it looked like there was just no chance for comeback. He kept playing as if every last play was going to win the game for you. I love that about him. Just never quit, never gave up. Even on that last play when it was untimed down and there's no way we could win because the clock would have been out anyway, he still throws a touchdown pass to Will Dissly. So statistically, it's going to look really good on the stat sheet for Russell with touchdowns and yardage and running a touchdown. And we dominated on the offensive yardage side, but of course that couldn't offset what eventually led to the deficit that we lost by, which was the two brutal touchdowns that came off of the fumble and the punt return. And that was really our undoing, and we never could get out of that hole. Which kind of brings me to a point I want to start out with, I guess, in terms of being critical. One of my biggest issues, not biggest issues, I should say, one of the flaws I have in Pete Carroll's philosophy with, since you got on the road, I can't run over here. One of my biggest thoughts of the flaws of the Pete Carroll philosophy is, he says, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You can't win the game in the first quarter, can't win the game in the second quarter, third quarter, you win the game in the fourth quarter. But look, we lost the game in the first quarter because we got in such a big hole that we couldn't overcome it. By the time we got everything rolling, it was too late. You couldn't win the game in the fourth quarter because we lost the game in the first quarter. That's been one of the issues we've had. I said at the beginning, I want to start early, get scores off the, early, and that's how you put a team like New Orleans away. And when you start out already one touchdown the hole from something like a punt return and then a fumble, I mean, that's the kind of stuff where you're just making it a heck of a lot harder yourself. It's just like, it was sort of a microcosm of our first offensive series, right? We start off, first play of the game, it was like negative yardage and then a holding penalty. I mean, so right away, instead of going forward, you're going backwards. It's hard to really, get something positive when you're first and 20. It happens so much. Congratulations to the Saints. You guys came out, I think, just played harder than we did. I mean, it just seemed like from an effort standpoint, from a battle in the trenches, you guys were all over us, and we were getting pushed around and not making tackles, and letting Kamara run all over us. Still not sure whether it's that he's great and that we're bad tackling or what, but it just seemed like he was running, he'd slip and get up and keep running, whereas we slip and it's done. And so it was just a lot of will. It just seemed like New Orleans wanted this more than we did. Maybe that whole thing with Drew Brees going down psychologically, like the rest of the people I talked to, everyone started talking, oh yeah, we're gonna win 48-3, 45-10. I wasn't on that. I thought our chances went up, but I was never on the tie. That's why I even didn't change my prediction to go suddenly blowout. I still had it as a close game, even with Brees gone. But so maybe they took them too lightly. Hard to know. But I think despite the fact that we were beat, pound for pound, we were beat off the ball at the line of scrimmage. We had opportunities where we could have turned the tide. We could have turned the game around, but we made some bad miscues Just to name a few. The end of the first half, not using a timeout at the end of the half, to go into the half with 2 timeouts in our pocket made no sense. To then let that DK Metcalf 52-yard pass basically amount to nothing because the clock ran out. I don't understand the thinking there. Why we didn't use the timeout earlier? Because you can't save them, so there's no point in saving it for later. So that was puzzling. I thought that early on, and I can't remember if it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter, but we kicked a field goal when we were down there right after they fumbled the punt and turned it back over to us. We got no points off of that gift, and we could have gotten a field goal out of it, and they went for it and didn't convert. That could have been another opportunity where we could save the score down. I think they should have done that. And then just no sacks. That's probably the biggest disappointment of what didn't show up today, was no pressure. We never got one single sack. We're supposed to be the best pass rushing combination, and it didn't do anything. So hopefully maybe it just needs more time, but that was a big disappointment. And of course, Chris Carson fumbling the ball again, 3 straight games. I love the guy. I think he runs great, but you can't cough up the ball like that, because that's almost 2 times that would have resulted in a scoop and score touchdown. The Steelers one got called back because of the penalty, but that should have been a scoop and score touchdown. Today was a scoop and score touchdown. I don't know how you fix that problem, because it's happening too consistently. So I hope he can get that fixed, because we're a better team when Chris Carson gets going. And then what was it slipping? He slipped like 2 or 3 times, making cuts in the backfield. And I don't know what was going on with that, but like, this is our turf. You should know, you shouldn't be slipping like that. This is familiar territory. So that was tough to watch. That's probably it. It's just, you look at the final score, we lost by 6. Granted, it wasn't even that close, but you start undoing certain things from the beginning, and then it does become close. It could be one of those things where maybe that final touchdown was the one for the game winner, and how exciting that would have been if we could have just not given up the punt return for a touchdown, not fumbled the ball, maybe kick the field goal, maybe get that stop instead of letting Kamara score, late in the fourth quarter. But bottom line is we got beat. It felt like we got beat. And you look at this, even during the game, you look at the stats, go, man, those stats don't represent how this game feels, that New Orleans definitely beat us. It's just frustrating when there were points at the time that we could have done something about it and changed it, and made a different call, different decision here. Timeouts. So frustrating. It's like, timeout. I was yelling. It's like, you got 2 of them, and there's only like 15 seconds left. You can't even use 2 timeouts in that short of time, so why not use one? No, let the clock burn out. Throw a 52-yard pass to DK Metcalf. All for naught. Anyway, I got to get on this train, but that's my initial reaction to this game. But 2-1. We're still got hope. It's only three games. Let's get next week.